The guy who was staying in the room opposite mine at IIMK, he had 99.97 and his best convert was Kozhikode. Bro, people were made to sign that I am signing out from the placements process और उनकी sign ले ली. If you are doing say your office work इज्जत से, I don't think you need to work for more than 8 hours a day. I worked at a media company and इससे ये हुआ. वो हुआ के भी नहीं, you don't know.
Hello BO family and welcome to the 4th episode of our podcast series. In this one we have Samarth, an IIM Kozhikode graduate who works as a consultant and a creator. In this episode we dive into how you can prepare to get into an IIM, how you can plan your finances to be able to afford a top tier college, what life at a top tier MBA college is like and what you can expect after graduation. Samarth also shares insights into how much you can make after doing an MBA from a top tier college and what it's like working with a startup versus a corporate. Before we jump into it, you can go subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on so that you can stay updated on our latest videos. So let's just dive right in. So today we have I would say a typical poster boy of an Indian household, Mr. Samarth. Why I say that is because he did his bachelor's in computers, computer engineering. What is it
Computer
called?
applications, BCA.
BCA, computer applications. Then directly went on to IIM,
IIM Kozhikode.
Kozhikode, right? And now you're freelancing, you're working with different startups, you have your own agency. You started off with in a corporate as well, right?
Yeah, so I have a full-time job as well.
Okay. So how many of your friends are just like कि यार मेरे parents बोलते रहते हैं कि समर्थ के जैसा बनो?
Ideally, in the beginning, I would say there were quite a number of them. But now with the various things that I'm doing, so say my full-time job right now is in the founder's office of a crypto startup, right? Mm-hmm. So not many parents would want their children to do that. But beyond that also, like you said, I have my podcast, I'm doing content creation, I'm working with startups on the side as well. There is none of it is very definitive, right? So if you've done an MBA from an old IIM, right? Everyone would be having that, hey, this guy should have a definite path in life, 30 tak shadi, then 35 tak partner at some consulting firm, right? So ideally it's a very unconventional path post an MBA, but it's going well till now, so I'm hoping it should go well like that in the future.
But यार IIM में घुसने के लिए थोड़ा financial stability तो चाहिए ना? And not like anyone and everyone. Even if they first of all, getting selected is a big deal.
Yeah.
Then after getting selected, to be able to financially be able to afford it, it's very difficult, I'm guessing.
I mean, see, I think post-graduation degree anywhere, right? Be it India or outside, it's expensive.
Got it.
So when you are planning to do a post-grad, you have that mindset that, boss, I'm going to incur some money in order to do that, right? Now, in terms of financial stability, I did my MBA without taking a loan.
Got it.
And that's like a very small percentage of people who do that, right?
Correct.
So to start off with, right, first while you are in the conquering years of your undergrad, you decide that I want to do an MBA. Now that could be straight after college or that could be, I'll work for some time and then probably I'll think of an MBA. For me, it was the prior one wherein straight after college, I decided that I have to do an MBA.
Got it.
Right? When I did my MBA, it was basically in 2019, 2021, right? That was the batch for me.
Okay.
And I did it as a fresher.
Okay.
I finished my undergrad in 2019 and went for an MBA in 2019 itself.
And that as far as I understand is not the ideal.
Not the ideal one. Yeah, not the ideal one, right? But if you know what you want to do, right? Or even if you fairly have an idea, and if you're ready to, put those extra hours even after getting into a B school, right? Like thoda aur hustle maar lenge, thodi aur fight maar lenge, right? Then you can fairly compete with the others, right? For me, that was all the more an added push because I was not from a very reputable undergrad college.
Right.
I did not have work experience. And I knew when I'll be going to an MBA, I'd be competing with people from IITs,
Correct.
your DUs and people with work experience.
Correct.
So you needed that moral, fight and push mechanism that wahan jaake bhi you have to not struggle, but you have to put in those hours to match up to them, right?
And I've heard IIMs के culture is also very like you said कि और थोड़ा और hustle मतलब IIM में घुसने के बाद जो हसल होता है उसके ऊपर से और कितना ही हसल करोगे, बिकॉज आई हैव हर्ड दैट यू गाइज हैव लाइक रियली वियर्ड टाइमिंग्स, यू हैव नाइट क्लासेस, प्रोजेक्ट्स तुम्हारे चलते रहते हैं हमेशा. what is life like in an IIM of a typical IIM student?
So let me just break this down into a more structured evolutionary process, right? First is preparing for CAT, clearing CAT, preparing for interviews, clearing interviews, financial help, and then an MBA, right? So that it's more structured.
Correct.
So essentially, when you're preparing for CAT, there are people who prepare for 2 weeks and clear CAT, and I know people who've done it for 4 years and still have not able to, crack CAT, right? For me, it was more of a 6 to 10 months journey, wherein I ended up taking 60 odd mocks, and it so happened that on the day of the exam, the guy who was sitting beside me consistently throughout the exam said that, boss, screen dikhana, answers dekhna hai, right? And if I refute, my exam also gets messed up,
Correct.
right? So I somehow gave through it, and I was sure it was not the best.
So did you show him your screen?
I mean, I couldn't do anything, right? The screen was open, his eyes were open.
So I actually, now that you're done, I don't think this will be considered as anything
No,
illegal.
but
but
but the best part is after the exam, the guy asks me, boss, तूने सारे right answers लिखे हैं ना? So I ended up scoring, I don't know, in the 98s, and I know that was not my best performance, right?
very humble.
I always wanted to go to
You gotta
IIMA.
flex it. You need to like show it off. Yeah, I got 98 in CAT.
So just as a point of example, the guy who was staying in the room opposite mine at IIMK, he had 99.97.
Wow.
And his best convert was Kozhikode.
What are you saying?
Yeah, I mean best convert. He had calls everywhere,
Okay,
but his
okay.
best convert was IIMK.
Okay, he wasn't able to crack interviews.
Exactly. So even if you're scoring like almost a perfect 100, that does not guarantee
Translate
you
that you go into the ABC.
ABCs, right? So CAT happened, you score in CAT and you get calls. So for me, the best call was Kozhikode. So that was like one shot, one conversion thing. And I was a little psyche in some sense because I was like, boss, jaunga, to top 5 mein hi jaunga, or else I can take up another year, right?
Right.
I don't have issues in doing that. And K call came and I prepared.
थोड़ा elaborate
IIM
कर दो.
Kozhikode, sorry. IIM Kozhikode call came and I prepared for it, say, for a month and a half, 2 months. And it was like proper IAS level prep.
Okay.
So I was using IAS resources on YouTube,
Right.
reading books on Kerala as a state, on Bengal as a state, right? Because in an MBA interview, in 20 odd minutes, you can be asked anything and everything.
Crazy.
From where you are going, because Kerala, right? Kozhikode is in Kerala. Whatever you've done in life, like if you're showing 10 things, you should be in-depth knowledgeable about those 10 things to the bottom.
Crazy. Okay.
Because like one question that I was asked in my interview was, from the state of Bengal, if these are the different verticals, who are their ministers?
Whoa.
Yeah.
They asked you to name ministers?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm just telling you the depth to which...
That's insane.
Exactly. But that's more from the mindset that how is he or she handling pressure.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, knowing ministers ka name is not a...
Fruitful.
Yeah, it's not a vanity thing, right? But
Correct.
it's just about how are you
Able to
tackling
handle
pressure, right? Yeah.
Interesting. So it's okay even if you don't know the answer.
Yeah, but if you are not able to answer the question well, I'm not saying correctly, but I'm talking about answering the question well, then you are in a hot soup situation, right?
Interesting. So what can someone do when they are in such a situation? How do they handle the pressure? How did you do it?
I think, okay, I to knew the answer because the guy who had
Oh my
gone...
God, you knew the minister name?
No, because the guy who had gone before me was asked the same question.
Okay.
So I
So
was...
you mugged it up.
Yeah. But to be honest, when you are asked such uncomfortable questions, you basically have to say that, hey, this is not something that I prepared. I have very faint knowledge about this, but I would want you to explain it to me. So you have to be humble and display yourself that, hey, I'm open
Ready
to
to
learning.
learn.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that is how you essentially, answer these questions. So IIM Kozhikode interview happened, and then there was a long wait because for the results to come out, right? And at the meantime, I was also applying for other jobs.
Right.
And it so happened that when the results came out, I was waitlisted at 259.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And that was probably the best interview I had given. So I'm like, boss, I don't think this
How
is.
many are selected?
So what happens is, right, it's a trickle down effect. So if ABC ki waitlist will move, so people who got Lucknow calls will go to say a Calcutta. People who got Calcutta calls but their waitlist moved in Bangalore, they go to Bangalore. So that's how waitlists move across colleges, and this is only IIMs, but there are other equivalents like FMS, XLRI who are comparable to ABCL, right? So unki agar move karegi to K ki bhi move karegi, because K is a level lower than these top 5-6 colleges, right? So I was waitlisted at 259 and I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out, right? So I was looking for jobs at the same time, and I got offers from Uber Eats at that point in time, and Deloitte and DE Shaw.
अच्छा, Uber Eats join नहीं किया.
Yeah, that is a wise decision, but I had to take a call that ये करना है, or should I have the faith that boss this 259 will get cleared this year? And somehow through data and statistics it looked like it is going to get cleared, right? And I was like, if that's happening then I want to go, because it's an old IIM, right? So I took the leap of faith, if I may say so, and I said to these 3 companies, boss, I'm not joining, right? And it was my last undergrad exam, and I was coming back from college and I got a mail saying that, hey, you've cleared.
Oh, crazy.
Okay, so it was like a long
your story is making me regret saying that you're an ideal poster.
yeah.
Because if my parents got to know that I've rejected offers from
Yeah.
Deloitte and whatever, they would be like, what's wrong
with you? Exactly, right? And that is the same thing that happened with me in undergrad as well, right? So I rejected offers from Christ, DU, NM, to go to a very not so heard college in Calcutta. So from that point in time onwards, I think that unconventional mindset had set in, right? So yeah, I mean, then I was coming back from college and I got a message saying that ho gaya, right? And I was like on cloud 9, boss, that finally the wait was worth it, right?
Correct.
And what happens, in MBA colleges is that once calls start coming out, na, लोगों के group बनने लग जाते हैं.
Okay.
People start having WhatsApp groups and everything where they start conversing.
How do they get to know your...
So the college, the student administration from the college creates a Facebook group.
Okay.
Right? That all those who have converted, please send in your convert ka screenshot.
Got it.
And we will add you to the Facebook group. So that effective communication and all starts happening, right? So till the time I converted, 6 lists aa chuki thi. So I got through in the 7th list, right? And that time a lot of movement and already happened. And I actually had 10 friends with whom I was preparing from Calcutta itself. Now the funny part is all 10 of us got into one IIM, right?
Oh, different
Yeah,
IIMs
so someone is from A, B, C, L, FMS, SP Gen, and I am from K. So everyone went everywhere, and I was the last person to get through.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, like everyone was super happy and stuff. Now comes the part wherein you plan the financial aspect that you're talking about, right? That so my fees for the 2 years was around 20 to 22 lakhs, which is including your tuition, khana, pina, rehna. Okay. And coming from a Gujju family,
20 to 25 lakhs
20 to 22 lakhs
per year.
For the 2 years.
For the 2 years.
This is excluding the foreign exchange that happens. So IIMs provide you an opportunity
to go abroad.
Yeah, for one term or for one trimester, you can go to a foreign university, right?
Interesting.
And that is additional. So उसमें आपका extra और 5-6 लाख लग जाता है, right?
Got it. So and is this the tuition fees across, or I'm guessing ABC का बहुत
It's
ज़्यादा?
higher.
Okay.
It's higher, right? So ABCs at that point of time were 25 or 26, if I'm not wrong, right? And that is again excluding foreign exchange. Yeah, because that is another 5-6 lakhs.
Right.
So again, coming from a Gujarati family, my parents were like, loan to lena nahi hai, right? You have to, figure out, right? That's what they just said. And I'm like, boss, figure out का मतलब, 20-25 लाख कहाँ से निकालूं, right? So yeah, for a part of my education fees, right, was sponsored by my mom and dad.
Okay.
Right, they are like, तुमको शादी के बाद देंगे, उसके अच्छा अभी दे देते हैं. And I mean that from a parent's lens was very progressive, right?
Correct.
That instead of investing into something which is more materialistic, we want to invest in your education. That might reap you more benefits than those materialistic pleasures, right? And for the remaining 50%, I somehow managed on my own.
What do you mean by somehow managed on your
I'll tell you how, right? So first of all,
Tell me truly.
Yeah,
were
nah.
you a drug dealer?
No, I hope so, but yeah, I mean, so I got some part of it as a scholarship from IIM
Oh, interesting.
because of my previous.
What is the percentage? How does scholarship work?
So there are different quotas
Categories.
or categories. So I was falling in one of them, right? So I got some part of it as scholarship. Then whatever stipend I had gotten from my IIM internship, right? So IIM internships are high stipend paying, right?
Okay.
So if you're a decent enough chap, you can get 1 lakh per month.
Got it. And this is your internship is for 2 months.
Yeah,
if I'm not
I was interning with Axis Bank in the strategy department, right? So I got my internship stipend as well.
How much did you earn during your internship?
2.5 lakhs
Per month.
total for the 2 months. Yeah,
That's mad.
I mean that's for a kid, right? Like right after undergrad without any experience, that is a lot. Like that's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I actually represented IIM Kozhikode in 15 to 20 national and international level case competitions, right?
Fests.
No, not fest, case competitions.
Okay.
So what the case competitions basically are is that, say there is this brand called Asian Paints, right?
Okay.
They have a problem statement.
Oh.
So their problem statement is, hey, we want to launch our D2C brand in India, right? And they put it out across B schools, across their roster of B schools, and say if you win campus or if you win, say, district or if you win nationals, right? Or even if you place somewhere, at each stage you get some money.
Okay.
So like we had won.
And these are high paying cash prizes.
These are high paying competitions, right? So I didn't win anything at a national level, but I went to like a good number of national competitions. So even if you are going till national, समझ लो कि आपको 50,000 लाख रुपए 2 लाख रुपए तो मिल चुके हैं ऑलरेडी beyond the goodie.
Beyond just winning the.
Yeah. So if you're reaching nationals, right, that means you've either won college or you've won regional, right? That's how you've reached nationals.
Crazy. Okay.
So you'll get some cash prize over there.
How much did you win through these? Like in total, how much would you say?
I think I would have won 5-6 lakhs easy through case competitions itself, right? उतने की मेरे को स्कॉलरशिप मिल गई थी एंड रिमेनिंग वाज द इंटर्न स्टाइपेंड.
तो पूरा कवर ही हो गया.
सो 50% लाइक आई सेड मैंने अपने से दिया एंड 50% वाज फ्रॉम माय फैमिली. True hustler in some sense, but it was more of that fear also that boss loan nahi lena hai.
Okay.
Because understand this, right? I mean, I'm not saying loan is a bad thing, right? But purely from a mathematical perspective, right? Say if you end up taking 20 or 22 lakhs ka loan, you are effectively paying 30 to 40,000 per month as EMI. If you want to say close it in 8 to 10 years, right? So what happens is that 1 year post your MBA, if you have a loan, you wouldn't be charged interest on that.
Right.
It's called the monetarium
Correct.
period, right?
Correct.
It's after that only that the interest starts getting charged, and it's on a compounding basis. It's not simple interest, right? So आप जितना delay करोगे आपका लोन बर्डन बढ़ते जाएगा. नाउ एवरीवन विल हैव द काउंटर आर्ग्यूमेंट सेइंग दैट बॉस इसमें यू आर गेटिंग टैक्स बेनिफिट्स अंडर 80E. बट यार वो टैक्स बेनिफिट्स के साथ इफ यू आर इन्वेस्टिंग एंड इफ योर रिटर्न्स आर मोर देन द इंटरेस्ट दैट यू आर पेइंग ऑन योर लोन, देन ओनली इट मेक्स सेंस. Right? So ideally think of this, say if you're earning 1 lakh rupees a month in hand post MBA, and उसमें से every month तेरे 30 to 40,000 rupees is going away as EMI. So net you have to keep in mind that boss I'm surviving with 60K a month. And if you're staying in say a Bangalore or a Bombay, you have to part off with another 30K.
Correct.
Saying that this is just for rent and food and all of that, right? And that is also I'm talking if you're staying very humbly. Right? So you are only left with 30. Now usme you have to do investments also. Some people have to send home money as well, right?
Yeah.
And you also do your luxury expenses in that remaining 30K. So that's a very hassle sort of a situation, right? So for me it was always the mindset was loan nahi lena hai. Again, by no...
There are a lot of people that will say against.
Exactly. 100%.
And
100%.
you stand by.
I stand by what I believe in, right? Like, I'm not saying debt is a bad thing. You will need debt to grow as an individual or as an organization as well. But I did not want to get under that debt trap, right?
There was a professor of mine in college, and he's like a very senior finance professor, and he told us one very simple thing. He's like, people in India are very scared of taking debt, they're taking loans, but why are Indians scared? It's not your money. You're just taking money from someone else. अब एक दिन ऐसा है कि you don't have money, you're not able to pay back. Okay, what are they going to do about it, right? If you don't have money, they can't like take your life out of it, right? So why wouldn't you take a loan? So what you're saying is what I understand. What others are saying also what I understand. But then I'm guessing there is no right answer.
There's no right answer. It's very subjective, right?
Very subjective.
But I mean, think of this, right? So if I have to say from a career journey perspective, right now, say if I'm not liking what the job that I'm doing, hypothetically speaking, right? Because I don't have a loan, I can say, boss, ये नहीं हो रहा मेरे से, अगर मैं 2 महीने कुछ नहीं भी करता हूँ, I'll figure something out that I like and I can quit without thinking.
Correct.
If you have a loan on your head and if you are paying 30,000, 40,000 a month, your flexibility gets curbed down a lot.
Losing your freedom.
Exactly, right? And for me, earning money is not about spending. It's about buying that freedom.
Got it.
That if tomorrow I want to start up as well, right? I have the luxury to start up.
Got it.
I'm not under some, jail of EMI that boss, ये देना ही पड़ेगा.
समझ गया. Okay. Now we still have to get to the life at IIM.
Yeah,
also,
100%.
But before that, I have a very important question. So when we talk about people from these MBA colleges,
Yeah.
like IIMs हो गए, ISB हो गया, XLRI हो गया, the general notion of around people that haven't been to these colleges or don't understand these colleges, उनका general notion ये है कि यार these are just people that show off and these are just people that think too much of themselves, right? And in some cases even I have noticed, right? Do you think there is something like this, and what is it about them that that they're so cocky about, I would say?
So I mean, again, right, what you said in some sense is correct, right? And in some sense is not true as well. So funny thing, right? Within colleges also that ego battles are there, right? Let's say if you're from ABC and I am from K, like, oh bro, you're from, IIM K sort of a thing, and we are from the top, the
Correct.
Holy Trinity, if I may put it, right? So the thing is that, let's just talk pure numbers, right? Close to 2 lakh people apply to MBA colleges every year.
Correct.
And on average, say each top IIM has 400 seats.
Right.
Talking about both general and reserved.
Right.
It's a 50-50 split.
Right.
So net, if I have to take, say, top 6 IIMs, that is Blackie, ABC, LKI, 24 into 6.
ABC, LKI breakdown kar do, please.
Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, Lucknow, Kozhikode, Indore.
Okay.
The 6 ones, right? Now each have 400 students. So 400 into 6 is 2400. So out of a sample of 2 lakh, right, you are fighting for those 2400 seats. Okay. Now, if I have to talk about pure maths, that's I think 0.01%.
Right.
Net, right? Now, usme bhi, say if you're a general engineering male, that is the worst possible combination to have, because girls get gender diversity. Reservation already hai. In some B schools, there is course diversity as well. So if you have done, say, a BCA or a BCom or a BA, that adds to you to get extra points.
So the worst person is a male from a general background who has done like a BCom or a BBA.
No, BTech.
BTech.
Right, engineering. And who's a fresher.
Okay.
Because WorkX also has points.
Got it.
Understand this, that after this, right, if you're still able to get into a college, you will be like, boss, मैंने तो बहुत मचा लिया है, right?
Correct.
But what people fail to understand is that वहाँ पे दूसरे भी ऐसे लोग हैं जो बहुत मचा के आए हैं, right? I mean, I think in one of Biswa's stand-up, he had spoken of the same imposter syndrome he faced at IIT Kharagpur.
Right.
For most people, it's like this is the end. But what they don't understand is, बहुत यहाँ पे सब वो struggle करके आए हैं.
Got it.
So it's a means to the end, not the end, right?
Correct.
So that's why that air of superiority is there. So I don't know if you've seen this, but all these B school kids, right? You will see in airports, they'll always be wearing their hoodie. That's a pride that boss, I have made it, right? I've made it somewhere in life.
Correct.
But
कहीं तो flaunt कर
कहीं तो flaunt कर सकते हैं, right? And I mean, this just gets added over the years while staying in B school as well, because of, you know, peer recognition and all of that, that bhai मैं कुछ हूँ. But the reality starts hitting them on their face once they graduate and they are into the real world of things, in terms of jobs, in terms of starting up, whatever. Because boss, वहाँ पे लोग के पास skill है, तुम्हारे पास degree है.
Dropouts भी तुम्हारे जितने कमा रहे होंगे.
More than that, boss, much more than that, right? So I mean, essentially, then it's more of a thing of skill versus degree.
Right.
You can't just sail oceans saying that, boss, I have an IIM degree. Skills का है भाई.
There was a very nice ad. I'm sure you'd have seen it. Stoa का जो ad निकला.
Yeah.
Stoa, if you're watching this, you could probably sponsor this podcast. You know.
Burnt degree, second degree burns.
Second degree burns.
Yeah.
Where that guy is in a conflict on the road and then वो degree निकाल के.
Correct.
Very nice ad.
Very nice ad. Yeah.
So it was a nice breakdown of the whole concept.
Correct. But I think, you know, 10 years down the line, like 10 years before today, degree held a lot of importance, right? Today it still does, but the impact has reduced.
Right.
So right now also, from jumping from say a mid-senior to a senior to a leadership position, you will need a degree.
Right.
बिना उसके नहीं होगा.
Right.
But पहले क्या होता था कि there were a lot of entry barriers which degree could break. Now those entry barriers are no longer there, right? If you have the skills, at least you can enter. Correct. I cannot guarantee you the exponential growth or climbing up the ladder वाला thing, but entry तो मिल जाएगी जो पहले नहीं मिलती थी.
Got it. Interesting. Okay. ठीक है. So coming back to the life.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, from the time I got through till say the time I ended, right, in a very summarized fashion. So what happens is, you get a call, you are added to the Facebook group, you join the WhatsApp groups. Now what happens is that city seniors organize local meetups.
Okay.
So say if you're from Bangalore, right, and you get into IIM Kozhikode, there will be a lot of currently studying IIM Kozhikode people who will be from Bangalore.
Right.
So they will have a meetup wherein all those people from your batch who are joining this year, you meet up face to face. You not network, but they just tell you about, hey, this is what is going to come your way and all of that, right? So that happens. Then what happens is, before you go into campus, you get mails from banks, loan le lo, right? Your student, like the student council, right? They start sending you pre-assignments. तुम घुसे भी नहीं हो भाई, but they start sending you pre-assignments that boss CV ready करो, ये CopFin का assignment करो, do marketing assignment. Crazy. Right? So before even going there, all of this starts, right? You start getting your hostels and you start making some initial connections, right?
एक बात बताओ, ये जो loan वाला जो बात आया था, bank start sending you, is the college selling the data?
Could be the college, could be the
and one individual from the
could be the test taking institution as well, right? Like I went to Career Launcher and they knew I converted Kozhikode, so बेच दिया data.
Interesting.
Right? So वो तो बिकता ही है. Who sells it, or if everyone sells it, we don't know. But it's getting sold for sure, right?
And you're going back to...
Yeah. So you get those assignments and everything. And you have a lot of these different groups that get formed. IIMK gymmers, IIMK swimmers, like all random things, right? In the beginning, I'm very sorry to say this, but you basically, while you're at home, willing to go to campus, you start connecting with people from your own community or your own city or your own college. Right? Just because that familiarity is there. Correct. Fir you go to campus. Now, this is something that I don't think publicly has been spoken of a lot, but initial 2-3 weeks is called the interaction process, that I may say so, which basically levels out senior junior relationship. Okay. So it's like an underlying thing for some sort of ragging, but not what we see in engineering colleges, but it's more like a hoax.
A high class sophisticated
ragging. 100%, right? Like it's like a hoax sort of a thing that happens, and the most important message behind that is to crush your ego.
Got it.
that all of you are equal over here. There is no one who's extra talented and there's no one who's at the rungs, right? So a lot of fun activities.
So what do you like? What do you guys? I वो मुन्ना भाई MBBS में दिखाते हैं ना कि डोला रे डोला रे.
No. It is far away from that. But to give you one example, right? So what happened on the last day of our hoax, right? When we were getting into the batch. On the last day, the entire senior batch called us to the auditorium. And वो लोग सब स्टेज पे खड़े थे and we were all seated. So 480 people on stage and 480 people are sitting.
Got it.
And we are all scared that भाई क्या हो गया क्योंकि रात को 1 बजे बुलाया and it was all the build up of 2 weeks that led to that 1 बजे. ठीक है. The senior student council comes. They are like, boss, now someone in your batch has messed up, right? And someone has complained to the MHRD that we are inflicting ragging over here. We are, like completely traumatizing you guys. And now the entire student council is suspended and kal government wale aa rahe hain. Right? And okay, the thing is that all these events that happen, phones are not allowed. Your phones are on switched off. So there's no recording or there's no proof of concept, right? And then they all started screaming on us. कि यार तुम लोग क्या नल्ले हो, क्या गधे हो, and all forms of abuses.
Stress round.
Yeah, and we were standing with our hands up. हम लोग सबके हाथ खड़े करवा दिए. And that went on for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And then the student council walks off. Then their batchmates are like, you guys are useless. You guys are nonsense, right? And before entering the hall, we were given like a walk of shame wherein both the sides mein seniors are standing and they are clapping and we are just putting our heads down and walking inside. Then all that
मजा आ रहा है
dude, at that time you're shit scared.
Okay.
You're like क्या हो रहा है?
यार मतलब लेकिन you're a bunch of 480 मतलब 480 में क्या ही करेंगे तुम लोग तो मतलब.
Bro, people were made to sign that I am signing out from the placements process और उनकी sign ले ली. On a blank piece of paper. डराने के लिए, I'm not saying that was official, but just to make things more amplified, right? Then they walked off. Then their batchmates started screaming on us, and they also walked off. And हमारा batch सिर्फ वहाँ पे बचा और कोई नहीं. And we were like, boss, what happened? And then all of them came back on stage, right? And so our cultural fest is called Roobaroo, which is the internal college thing, and they all started screaming Roobaroo, right? And everyone just lost their shit. I'm getting goosebumps when I'm saying this again, but that's the time when the hoax got broken. And then all the seniors went into the sections. We got to know our sections, and from that night itself, we started practicing for intra-section cultural events.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So in those 2-3 weeks, you are burnt till the tipping point. तुम्हारी CV फाड़ के तुम्हारे मुंह पे फेंक देंगे.
And all of this is done by the seniors, not by the
seniors, right?
And does the college know anything about all of this, or is the college like ignorant too?
Let's just say it's an unkept secret.
Okay.
Right? Because they also in some sense know that, boss, these kids have to be humbled down.
Correct.
If they are not humbled down, they won't care.
Correct.
They won't care about the process. They won't care about the curriculum. They won't care about the professors.
Correct.
तो उनको humble down करना तो भाई ज़रूरी है. So this was all in, good spirit, right? So yeah, that happened. Then we had the intra-college cultural fest and all. And that's the same structure that is there across B schools. In some sense, difference in intensity. But yeah, broadly this. Now, I think for me or for my batch, B school life was very different from all other batches who have passed before us.
Because COVID.
Yeah, because we had all forms of an MBA. Completely online, completely offline, and both hybrid, right? I think that what you were asking me, that one of the biggest takeaways for us is these bonds. Because we've seen it all.
So is it true what they say कि MBA colleges में पढ़ने के लिए मत जाओ but networking के लिए जाओ? Would you say you don't care about what you learned, but it's more about you don't care about the books, what the books
yeah,
taught you?
100%.
It's
and
more about the experience,
the people. And networking also is a very corporate term, right? I think it's about the connects or the friends you make, right? Because understand this, that is the last education for majority of the people. So proximity principle wise यार वो तुम्हारे
are gonna be
सबसे
your
latest
lifetime
friends है.
friends.
Exactly. So I think from that angle it becomes very important, right? And majorly experiences. Like I went into a B school at the age of 21. I came out at the age of 23. But my mindset was no longer that of a 23-year-old.
And I'm guessing your batchmates would have been like way older. As
Yeah,
well.
I was one of the youngest.
What was the range of like? Who was the oldest batchmate?
So the youngest one was 21 or 22, who happens to be a very close friend of mine. And the eldest one was probably 32 or 34, who had a kid as well. So एक बार कैंपस में उसका बर्थडे भी मनाया था और उसके बच्चे का भी बर्थडे मनाया था, right? So it's that wholesome and that inclusive, right? So that was the range, like 21 to 34, yeah.
तुम्हारा IIM का मतलब जर्नी खत्म हो गया, फिर प्लेसमेंट्स में आ गए तुम लोग.
IIM journey, I mean there are a lot of things, yeah.
I know there are a lot of micros as well.
Correct.
But I don't want to go deep into is there anything specific that you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think what you said, right, that weird timing classes and you sleeping at 3 or 4, waking up at 8 to go to class. I think whatever was shown in, say, a 2 states or something, right, that's actually true.
So, okay. So, you did online, you did offline. So
Yeah.
Was the online as intense as offline?
No. It was 10% of what offline was.
Interesting.
Because you just turn on the class and you're sleeping.
So you would you say you wasted you wasted that 10 lakhs that you paid for a year?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that was a very integral part of our course that was taken away from us, right? From an online standpoint.
Connections भी उतने नहीं.
100% यार, because you get screen fatigue. बहुत fatigue होता है. मतलब 14, 16, 18 hours physically is doable. 14, 16, 18 hours virtually is not doable.
Correct.
It's too much to handle.
And was it 14, 16 hours?
Yeah. I mean, I remember in term 1, right, the first trimester, wherein your summer placements happen, at least for us. On average, I would have slept 3 to 4 hours a day.
And why is that? Is it the classes that go on, or is it just the projects and stuff?
So it's a simple philosophy, right, that in MBA, you can only do, there are 3 S's, okay? Socializing, study, and sleeping. Okay. Yeah, 3 S's. Okay. You can only do 2 at a time. Right. So I'm
guessing studying was everyone's last priority.
No. I mean, if you wanted to, get into the top tier firms, you needed grades, right? So the day used to look like your classes start from 9. So you start your classes at 9 till 4. Beach mein आधा घंटा you get lunch break, and there was a 15-minute break between classes.
Right.
After 4, you probably have a quiz which goes on for another half an hour, 45 minutes. So 5 baj gaye, you go to your room by 5:15. You clean up your room, laundry if you want to do. Then if there is placement session, like the placement committee session that some companies coming and everyone has to go, you go for that. Or you then meet for your case prep. Next दिन case होगा class में, you have to prep for that, group projects, all of that. You have to prep for your summer placements. CV बनानी है, CV ठीक करनी है, interview preparation and all of that. Simultaneously, you're also having the application process for different clubs committees, right? Okay. So all of the clubs committees have like 4-5 rounds. So उसका काम अलग रहता है. Simultaneously case competitions भी start हो गए, तो उसका काम भी रहता है. And you are also meeting new people, getting acclimatized, right? And many people fall in love also at the same time. Course. So that is also there, right? And ये सब on a daily basis, and you play sports. Sports भी है, right? So ये सब खत्म होते होते 2-3 तो बज ही जाते हैं. Like that's a normal. So you come back to your room by 3:30, you sleep, you again wake up, 7-8. लोग तो उतना भी नहीं करते. People wake up at 8:45 for a 9 a.m. class. So there have been days you go by without having a bath, right? So it's that jam packed, right? And for an outside person, they're like, boss, this is not possible. Correct. Humanly ये करना possible नहीं है. But I also thought the same thing. But after going there, after living that life, I'm like, I can do it again. I would want to do it again.
You miss that life.
I miss that life. But the sad part is because MBA makes you so hyperactive, right? Post that also you need that high. Dopamine rush, right? One high to another. So
what was your placements like? in IIM. So we hear about the packages that you
Yeah.
say. Insane packages,
Mhm.
right? What was the highest in your batch package? Do you remember?
I think my batch as a benchmark wouldn't be correct because our summers were affected by COVID.
Okay.
Our finals were also affected by COVID.
Okay.
Right? But in general, the highest package, and by package I mean CTC. I'm not talking about the
In hand.
thing, right? It can go north of 50, like 60, 70,
Crazy,
80
crazy.
are like doable, are heard of, right? And some of them are national, some of them are international. But again, it's the CTC, and in a batch, only handful, like single digit people get that higher package. It's not like 10, 20, 30
Correct,
people get
got
it, right? Yeah.
And lowest.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very sad reality, right? But I know people, especially in my batch, because of COVID, who've gotten placed at 8, 10 odd lakh packages as well, right?
ये तो
Because
हमें मिल रहे थे after undergrad.
the COVID was an
So
added
bad.
layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are like, not having any job से better है कि boss कुछ भी मिल रहा है ले लो. And this is a thing that a lot of B school kids do, that campus से whatever offer you're getting, you take it. And then you use it to hunt for more jobs on the outside, right? Like that acts as your scapegoat. So a lot of people do that as well. That you take a very below ordinary package from college and उसको use करके आप और jobs ढूंढ रहे हो.
When you talk about these packages, like you said, not everyone gets good packages. Are there people that don't get placed at all?
No, I mean in the top B schools, right? That's not a case. Everyone gets placed somewhere or the other. In the lower rung B schools, yes. I mean, you would be surprised, but some of these newer IIMs that are there, right? There are kids who don't get placed over there as well, even though it's an IIM.
Crazy.
So in the older B schools or in the top B schools, yeah, I mean, there's no one who does not get placed. But in the lower IIMs, yes, there is a problem of placements, and you would be surprised to know that some of my batchmates, right, even though we are from IIM Kozhikode, some of them had to do free internships for summers.
Okay.
Because that's a part of your grading curriculum, right? So you have to do it. And pay wale cancel kar diye. So you had to do it for free.
Okay, now we're done with IIM. Now you go into your working culture, right? You started off with
Red Seer Consulting.
Right.
It's a strategy consulting firm.
Why do consultants get paid so much? I know that consultants are one of the highest paid people. Why do they get paid so much?
I think it's a very simple logic, right?
It is. If you were to look at more of the business side of it, it's, I would say, one of the most profitable business, because you're not.
It's a service business, so it has to be profitable.
Your brain is what you're selling.
Correct. So I think, the answer to this is fairly simple. The biggest moat that a consultant gets to the table.
What is moat, please explain.
Moat, in simple terms, it's USP.
Okay.
So the most common or the most impactful USP that a consultant gets to the table is essentially the hard work, right? Say if you're doing a case on FMCG, right? वो FMCG company का sales manager or their regional manager would be in this business since 5 years, 10 years, right? So a consultant who just has like a few months of experience obviously wouldn't be knowing that much that a particular
the person in the job.
Exactly, right? Now, the two things that are here is, those people don't have additional bandwidth. They are so staffed with their job that they don't have the bandwidth to do extra things on the side, right? So let's just say an FMCG company hires a consulting company to do an EBITDA reduction project. EBITDA reduction is basically that, hey, in terms of unit economics, we are making loss. Right? Simply we are making loss. इसको profitable कैसे करें? And we are a legacy company. It's not that we are a VC funded startup that we spent a lot on CAC and we are not making anything.
all the MBA terms throw कर रहे हो.
उसके लिए मैं सिंपल भाषा में बोलूँ तो हम लोग लॉस मेकिंग है. हम प्रॉफिटेबल कैसे बने? टू स्टार्ट विद यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स लेवल, राइट? सो नाउ a consulting company comes in, team आती है. Now the FMCG company के existing employees don't have the time that we will solve for this, because their jobs are operationally very heavy, right? So they have to focus there.
They're on the day to day. They can't focus on the larger
Exactly, right? What they can do is assist the consultants. Now these consulting companies who come in, have a lot of information bandwidth that is there, right? In
Right.
terms of resource, in terms of experts, whatever. B, they are hardworking.
Right.
The time that they put in is more valuable than the knowledge that these people have, right? Like
Got it.
they will work for 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day to finish this off in 2 months.
Got it.
And they hand it to them that boss, this is the solution. This is how you should execute it. इतने टाइम पे एटलीस्ट आपको इतना चेंज तो दिखेगा,
Right.
right? So that is the moat. That's how the outsourcing game works.
Got it.
Again, I'm not saying that whatever solution they provide, A, the client will accept, B, if accept, will implement, C, if implemented, will show results.
Got it.
Because all of this that they have shown is theoretical,
Theoretical.
right? There is no proof of concept for it. There is only proxy variables or proxy projects that are there to showcase कि हाँ भाई इसमें हमने ऐसा करा था, ये
Proof of
चला था,
concept.
हाँ तो इसमें we are trying to do something similar, not the same thing,
Got
right?
it.
And you will be surprised to know that अभी जो बहुत mass layoffs हो रहे हैं, right? Some of them were actually planned by some big consulting firms. They actually help these tech firms, plan their
their
downsizing. Yeah. And a lot of scam deals have also happened, and some of the legacy consulting firms were a part of those deals.
What are
Wherein,
these scam deals that you're talking about?
I mean, I don't remember correctly, but some drug scam from a medical company had been done in the US.
Okay.
Don't know the company's name, but that entire project was either done by MEC or BCG. Not sure, right? So a lot of those things are also happening, right? So again, like this the Go Mechanic scandal that happened, right?
What is the Go Mechanic scandal?
It's a Sequoia backed company that
Correct.
laid off 70% of its staff because the revenue was inflated and all of that in due diligence.
Right. Okay.
So some consulting firm would have done it for them, right?
Consulting firms are liable for in such cases, right?
No, consulting firms' only responsibility is to deliver the project to you.
तो अगर मैं कंसल्टेंट हूँ, अगर तू कंसल्टेंट है, if I'm coming and telling you, boss, help me show these many profits, although I don't have, you will just figure out a way to
You
do
will
it.
show it logically. Will it be ethical? You never know.
Will it be legal though?
It will be legal, but ethical होगा कि नहीं, you never know. And again, your job as a consultant is not to visibly show that, hey, I worked for Rohit and company and this is what we did. You will represent it is I worked
in
with
the
a
shadows.
I worked at a media company and इससे ये हुआ वो हुआ के भी नहीं, you don't know. Your job was to only deliver that project to Rohit and company.
Got it.
Now after that,
It's basically very transactional. It's not
correct,
like कि
correct,
तुम लोग बोल रहे हो कि हाँ यार ये क्या कर रहे हो, ये सही नहीं है, तुम
Correct.
पैसे दे रहे हो, you just do it.
correct.
Interesting. Okay. And then why the shift from corporate to startup? How long did you work in corporate for?
So again, I mean, I wouldn't say it was corporate also, because our clients were startups, Ps and VCs. So intuitively मैं startups के साथ ही काम कर रहा था.
Okay.
Even though I was representing a consulting firm, right? And I have been working with startups since 2016.
Okay.
Since my first year of my undergrad, right? So the first startup that I worked with was Unacademy.
Okay.
So Unacademy was starting.
What were you doing with Unacademy?
So
They started in 2015.
Yeah, so I was
with a YouTube channel.
Yes. So that old, right? So in 2015, 2016, I was working with them as a content and marketing intern, and I was making courses. And I still have some of my courses on Unacademy, right?
You were the teacher of those courses.
Yes, and I also helped in marketing and
But what
content.
were you teaching in the first year of your college?
I think I was teaching those core computer science courses, right?
Okay.
So those and few school level economics courses, because I had scored 100 in eco in 12th boards.
Wow. Okay.
Right, so I loved eco, I still do. So those courses, content and all was there. So my startup journey started in 2016. I also had a failed startup of my own, which was around Quora and community.
Right.
So in 2016, 2017, community and all, no one even had heard of.
Yeah. I hadn't even heard of startups back then.
Exactly, correct.
Outside of all of that.
So those were not even buzzwords, right? And we tried to do something that, say, a hub is doing right now. We tried to implement it back in 2016, 2017.
Okay.
That too in a city like Calcutta, which is already,
Yeah.
so backwards in comparison to a Bangalore, right? So that was the starting, stages of my introduction to the ecosystem. Then through undergrad, through MBA, I probably would have worked with 15, 20 startups, if not more. And I was like, boss, this is where I want to be, right? Now coming to the switch, I loved my job, what I was doing at Red
And I'm
Sea.
guessing you're making a bomb over there.
Oh. Given a fresher, passing out in COVID, that dream was not, so much to be truthful.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, decent enough, if I could say so, for my age and everything, right? I was working with startups there, and the work that I was doing was fun, right? But the problem was, I was only being able to strategize. मैं strategy बना के आपको दे रहा हूँ, and my work ends there.
Implement हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है result क्या आ रहा है उसका
I
you
was
don't know
not,
anything.
yeah, right. And you know what happens with consulting is you work within a lot of frameworks. And it is true in some sense that India is all about jugaad, right? That kuch jugaad karke kar lenge.
Correct.
And in consulting, it's very system. I'm a very systems driven person, right? But if you want to do something big, you have to move out of the system in some sense, improv, right? And consulting is all about framework, system, models, and all of that. And I'm like, boss, meko execute karna hai. I want to get my hands dirty, right? And I want to join an early stage startup, not even a mid to late stage startup, right? Funded early stage startup, because you get to do a lot in that.
Correct.
And my podcast co-host, right? So he is a CA, CFA, L3, and he worked with JP and Deutsche for 6 years.
Wow. Okay.
And he was moving to this crypto startup in the strategy and operations team. And we were in the meantime talking के boss content में कुछ करना अपन को साथ में. And he moved to this firm in Jan of 2022. Samyak moved in Jan 2022. And I was again on the lookout, right? And given a fresher with only a years of experience, कोई company लेने को तैयार नहीं होती. Startup में तो कोई भी नहीं लेने को तैयार होता, ठीक है? And he said in in Feb or March, he said that, boss, there is an opening, same role, tu aaja. Okay, then we can figure the content shit out also at some point in time. I'm like, okay, let me try. I was giving other interviews as well. I gave this one. Things worked out. The role was good. We had just raised pre-seed at that time. So early stage bhi tha. Crypto at that time was booming. So I'm like, it's a bet.
Good time.
Right? It's a bet. And the senior leadership team cumulatively had 40 years of experience.
Wow. Okay.
So they had already made 2 startups, sold them out, and this was the 3rd gig, right? So I'm like, theek hai yaar, everything is fitting the box. Ticking the boxes, right? Let's take a shot. Hua to hua, nahi hua to figure out kar lenge. How hard is that? So yeah, that is how officially I moved out from corporate to a startup ecosystem. And I think from that point in time, to everything has just catapulted for me in terms of work, also in terms of things that I'm doing on the side as well, right?
Because you're not just working in a startup. You're first of all, you're a LinkedIn creator,
Yeah.
professional LinkedIn creator. You're a podcaster as well, like you mentioned. You do consulting with other startups as well. You are an agency in itself where you're creating content, helping other brands understand marketing. You're doing so many things.
Yeah.
How are you fitting it into your whole, like, what is your startup work chill, or is it like you're just working 14 to 16 hours a day?
No, I mean, it's all about, delegating and making things work, right? So again, my full-time job is the main priority.
Correct.
Like, that's number one. I can't, be not doing well over there.
या फिर बस बोल रहे हो क्योंकि सुन रहा होगा.
नहीं. I mean, again, I'm not flaunting over here, but my team is actually one of the best performing teams in the organization, right? Because if you're working in founder's office, you stakes are high.
Right.
You can't do shabby work.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So again, that's more of a validation to what I'm doing. But the way I've structured things is like, Samyak and I work in the same team, and we have a podcast. So over there, things get delegated, right? Even when I'm consulting other startups, or I'm working in some agency model, there is someone who is there who has equal ownership as I have, but it's not the same person everywhere. So usse responsibilities get divided, right? And most of these extra things I do on the weekends, and I'm not saying that I'm a workaholic. I go out, I party equally, but it's more about time management, right? So for most people, their day starts at say 10, 11. I am on my desk at 8:30
Right.
after having worked out and everything.
Got it.
So
You're an early bird.
early bird, or let's just say I'm optimizing for time, right? So I mean, I am of this opinion that if you are doing say your office work इज्जत से, I don't think you need to work for more than 8 hours a day.
Correct.
If you're doing it properly, right?
If you're not wasting time.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
So that way I'm optimizing for time, and then other things, just fit in everywhere else.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Samarth, for just talking about all of these. I think this will be a good podcast for anyone that is, of course, trying to get into consulting, IIM, etc., but also for the outsiders to get an understanding of what it's like
Correct.
to be in an IIM, right? Because as an outsider myself, I have a different perspective of people in IIM altogether, right? Honestly, I think of them as like really cocky people.
Correct.
Yeah. But then the way you describe it just changed my perspective of things. So yeah, I mean, guys, make sure to check out their podcast. Can you tell them about a little bit about the podcast?
Thank you so much for that. So we run a podcast called Thinking Out Loud, which is by Samyak and I. Thinking Out Loud podcast basically focuses on 3 aspects, which is startups, creators, and venture capitalists, and how these 3 themes, will converge and grow in the future. So we are a weekly podcast. We have an episode releasing every week, and we are 15 episodes down. So that is a gist of
and they have had some incredible guests. Like, I'm very jealous and envious of them, because can you just give them a lineup of the guests?
So I'll just again, Rohit is being very sweet over here. We've still not managed to get those big guests, but yeah, I mean, we've had the founder of Masters Union, Pratham Mittal, founder of FinShots, Arjun Vaidya, who's the leading D2C angel investor. We've had the co-founder of Carrot Lane. We have had some crazy creators like Shreya Kapoor, whom you hosted right now.
Correct.
Then Neha Nagar, she's one of the biggest
Finfluencers.
creators in the country, right? So I mean, these are some of the many people we've hosted, and we are doing a Shark Tank segment as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you getting Shark Tank startups?
Yeah, four episodes, 4 Shark Tank founders.
Interesting.
Right. So yeah, I mean, trying to
Judges कब आ रहे हैं Shark Tank वाले?
वो अब नहीं आएंगे, बहुत पैसे लेते हैं. But yeah, that is a small thing that we are doing.
Very nice. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rohit.